Good afternoon and welcome inside another edition of That's What I Think with Brandon Swanson. I'm your fearless host, Brandon Swanson, and I know it's a little past the MLB Trade Deadline, but I still wanted to talk about teams that made moves, teams that stood pat, and how I think that that's going to impact them in a positive way or a negative way going on the rest of the season. As I sit here recording this podcast here today, the Boston Red Sox are 9 games in front of the New York Yankees. The Washington Nationals find themselves in 3rd place in the East, and the Dodgers aren't even 15 games in 1st place yet. This MLB season has been a wild one, but it has been a lot of fun to watch. So, I'm going to get into it. The winners from the trade deadline, in my mind, number 1, the Los Angeles Dodgers. Why not? The Dodgers, they were scuffling for the first half of the season. Maybe not the entire first half, if you want to be technical. But the first part of the season, we were wondering, where are the Dodgers? Where are the Dodgers? Who are these people on the field? And what have you done with the Los Angeles Dodgers? Corey Seager goes down. The pitching staff is up and down. They've got injuries. They have to go into the minors sooner than they would have liked. Things were not looking good for LA. In fact, Ricky Widmer and I sat in our recording studio and we went back and forth on a podcast, or a show rather, and talked about, would Manny Machado be the right fit for the Dodgers and a number of other teams? And I think I staunchly said, no, Manny Machado would not be good for the Dodgers. Clearly, what do I know? Because Manny Machado currently is on the Los Angeles Dodgers. Most likely a rental. Could the Dodgers try and sign him at the end of the season? Sure they could, but Manny Machado is probably going to want to go to the Yankees or the Cubs or someplace like that. But the Dodgers would be a reasonable landing spot as well and put themselves in the conversation. But the Dodgers get Manny Machado, so people would think, oh, that's all they needed. Just by having Manny Machado, they're able to help the void that took place because of Corey Seager being out. Not only do they get Manny Machado, but they go and get Brian Dozier. Now, I know he's had a down year for the Minnesota Twins. With the Twins, he had 16 homers, 52 RBIs. He hit to a clip of 224. In 5 games so far with the Los Angeles Dodgers, 2 homers, 7 RBIs. He's batting at .400. Sometimes a change of scenery is all you need. And the last couple of years, the last 2 months of the season, he's been hot. The Dodgers are praying that he does the exact same thing for them. And with Justin Turner being hurt, that is a cause for concern. But now having Dozier, having Machado, you've got 2 pieces in the infield that you can move around and use however you may need to do so. The Dodgers are just a half a game back in the West. This is a team that is on their way to making the playoffs this year. Yes, on their way to making the playoffs. They've been really good, I think, as of late. Making these moves was outstanding. And the Dodgers knew they needed to do it. They haven't won a World Series since 1988. They were so close last year. They could taste it, and it tasted good. And they needed to get pieces in place to be able to do it again. And now, having the depth, the Los Angeles Dodgers have primed themselves for a run at the playoffs. Second team that is a winner at the trade deadline, the Milwaukee Brewers. The Milwaukee Brewers, a team aggressively saying, we want to win, and we want to win now. You go out, you get Joakim Soria from the White Sox, another veteran, solid quality arm to put in the bullpen for the later innings. Then you go and you get Mike Moustakas from the AL Central as well to play third base. And then they're done, right? No, they're not done. They go and they get Jonathan Scope from the Orioles to play on the infield as well. A very inconsistent infield the Brewers had for the entire first half. The Milwaukee Brewers making a huge push to ensure that they are in the playoffs this season, and they are sniffing the postseason. Absolutely sniffing it. And if these moves haven't solidified the Brewers as a legitimate playoff team, then I don't know what does. They absolutely did everything they could and everything they believed they needed to do in the areas and the voids they needed to fill. They went out, they got them. The inconsistency in the infield, you can always use an extra arm in the bullpen. In fact, teams that win have a good bullpen, and they needed somebody else. They felt they needed another veteran reliever to come in there. Great job by the Milwaukee Brewers. You're a big winner. And my final winner from the trade deadline, and yeah, I know, I'm keeping it all here in the National League, the Pittsburgh Pirates. The Pittsburgh Pirates aren't going anywhere this year. They're not. They know it. They're 8.5 games back in the Central as of me recording this podcast today. But what they did is they went out and they got Chris Archer. And some people may be high on Chris Archer. Some people may feel like Chris Archer, his ERA has started to get a little higher in the last couple of years, and maybe he's losing a little velocity on his fastball. I like Chris Archer. And for a team that had to get rid of, I don't want to say had to, but it was just about inevitable because one side really didn't want to stay in Pittsburgh anymore, and you had to say goodbye to Garrett Cole in the offseason. And now he's on the Houston Astros doing an outstanding job. You see that and you think, hey, he could have been doing outstanding for me. But you've now got Chris Archer, a young guy who you control. I know Chris Archer's not going to change the entire face of the Pittsburgh Pirates, but he's certainly going to help them move in the right direction. The Pirates, for the last couple of seasons, have certainly showed that they've got some fight. They've got some pop. They've got some young talent that can get there. But it may take a little longer than they'd like. Chris Archer to be able to come in and anchor this starting rotation, that's strong. You own him for the next 3 years with an option for a fourth. That's huge. That's huge. This isn't a rental for Pittsburgh. And again, Pittsburgh's got pieces. They've got guys that can hit. It's like a golf game. My golf game, let's say, for example. Some days the drives are good and the putts are terrible. Some days the putts are great and I can't drive, spraying it everywhere. Haven't been able to put it together yet. That's what the Pirates are like. They're close, but they're not quite there. The addition of Chris Archer, knowing that you have control of him for the next couple of years, the Pirates, again, you're not going anywhere this year. The future is bright and a great move at the deadline. Now for the biggest losers. The biggest loser, in my mind, the Washington Nationals. The Washington Nationals, a team that I apparently inaccurately picked to win the World Series at the beginning of the season. That's getting slimmer and slimmer. Those hopes are getting slimmer and slimmer by the day. But the Washington Nationals, here's the problem. They'll say, no, we didn't trade Bryce Harper, so we're winners. No, you shouldn't have ever thought about trading Bryce Harper. You losers. You were absolute losers. What else did you not do? You didn't add another starting arm. Strasburg has been up and down injured all season long, and I think the last time I checked, Max Scherzer only pitches once every 5 days, not every day. I mean, it's been a real struggle. Gio Gonzalez has not been as good. Tanner Roark has been not good at all. Since June 1st, this rotation is 10-24 with a 5.48 ERA. The Washington Nationals, if they want to go somewhere, and Mike Rizzo believes that they can, that they like where they're at, they like where they're going, and where they're going is the same place they were going. They're going really nowhere forward because they made no moves to get there. They talk about how they like the direction they're moving in, but they're not really moving. They're just kind of, as one Rick Hahn would say, you're kind of muddled and muddied in mediocrity. The reason I know that is because being a White Sox fan, you know mediocrity. And then what's less than mediocrity as well. But the Washington Nationals, just unfortunate that you aren't able to do anything. You end up trading away a reliever, Brandon Kinsler. You trade him to the Cubs. Guess you didn't need him. From a year ago, where what did you do, Washington? You stockpiled on relievers. You brought in Kelvin Herrera earlier in the season. I thought that was a good move. But clearly the direction has changed. You're 5 back in the East. You're 3.5 back in the wild card. And guess what? It's attainable. But you made no move to put yourselves over the top, which clearly shows you don't want it as bad as some of these other teams. The Brewers, they won it. The Dodgers, they won it. Atlanta, the surprise Atlanta Braves team, they won it. The Washington Nationals are just hoping that they'll maybe get a seat at the table. And my final loser, it's a combo team here. 2 West teams, the Colorado Rockies and the Arizona Diamondbacks. The Rockies are not that far back. They are not that far back in this one. 2 games. 2 games is what the Rockies are back. They needed another outfield bat, and they could have used another bullpen arm. They went and got nothing. And then the Arizona Diamondbacks, you're in front by a half a game. A slim half game. I'm not saying that you're going to completely lose it and fall way behind. But what did you do last year? You went and you got JD Martinez. How did that work out for you? Pretty darn good. Pretty darn good. JD Martinez put you over the hump. I'm not saying that one player is always going to put you over the hump, but no players will take you nowhere. And that is what Arizona did. Arizona and Colorado, you stay stagnant. You do nothing. You do nothing to put you over the top. You do nothing to keep you in contention. Nothing at all. And again, sometimes doing nothing is the smart thing. But where you are, doing something, even a small minor move, again, as a White Sox fan, the small minor moves, the Jeff Blums of the world, they put you over the top. And they take you to a World Series. So that's why the Colorado Rockies and the Arizona Diamondbacks, in my mind, also losers at the deadline. And that's where I think this week, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Really enjoy and love having you tune in. I'm a big fan of the Los Angeles Dodgers, and I like where they're going. I liked the moves they made. The Milwaukee Brewers, I think they're going to be outstanding. I didn't really talk about them in here, but the Boston Red Sox, 9 games up on the Yankees now, just absolutely incredible. And they didn't really have to make any moves. The Boston Red Sox are looking pretty good at this point in the season. So a lot of teams going in good directions, but like I said, the Washington Nationals, they are just a big disappointment at the deadline. Really unfortunate that they did not make any moves to try and improve themselves, especially with Bryce Harper most likely on his way out of town. Join us next week. Again, same time, same place, 2 Central, 3 Eastern, and 12 Pacific. Have a great rest of your week, everybody. Have a wonderful weekend. So long.